how do you cope with estrangement and feelings of guilt and regret? In this video, we're going to navigate this area of having an estranged adult child and feeling guilty and having regret. Hi, I'm Marie Morin. I'm a therapist and a wellness coach. Let's get started. So feelings of guilt and regret as an estranged parent can be challenging and emotional to process. It's important to acknowledge and address these feelings in a healthy way to promote healing and personal growth, because the truth is you don't know exactly when and if your adult child will return, and so your role in this condition is to get yourself well. Sitting in these feelings for an extended period of time is only going to wreak havoc on your emotions and your physical health. So parents may experience profound feelings of guilt and regret when your adult child estranges. It's just a natural response to feel these emotions for various reasons. The weight of parental responsibility and the desire for their child's happiness can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-blame. Let's face it, when your adult child estranges, many people go down the rabbit hole of what did I do? What could have I done better? And I know I did things, and this is why my kid wants nothing to do with me. This self-blame and then posing all of this inadequacy on yourself is not good for you. We're going to dive into that a little bit more. But another part is this unmet expectations and the loss of the once close bond. And it can create a sense of disappointment and grief. You're going to want to watch my video on grief and how to cope with that so that you could learn more tools in order to navigate the estrangement condition. Sometimes the emotional stress and the haunting regret of past actions adds to the burden emotionally, and it could make a parent wish they could turn back time. The fear of permanent estrangement, as well as the social stigma surrounding family breakdowns, intensifies these feelings and emotions. Uncertainty about the cause and the feeling of powerlessness in the face of the estrangement add to the complex emotional turmoil. Moreover, parents may feel a loss of their identity and purpose as the parent-child connection is severed. If you've been a parent, you're a parent through and through. This is your identity. It really weighs on you. Amidst all of these emotions, parents might struggle to understand the reasons behind the estrangement, making it even more challenging to find resolution. Lots of times, adult children cut ties and there's no explanation. It's as though they disappeared. They don't want anything to do with you. They might be doing the gray rock thing where they're really distant. They may be just no contact. They may refuse to take your texts, calls, or emails. They may block you and you have no clue because they won't tell you or they haven't told you. So what we need to understand is that coping with feelings of guilt and regret as an estranged parent requires self-compassion, understanding, and the willingness to seek healing and growth. Staying in that space of feeling all of this guilt and regret will make you sick emotionally and physically. So let's talk about what are some things to do that you can help yourself to cope with feelings of guilt and regret. The first thing is to accept and acknowledge your emotions. Your feelings are not wrong. Your feelings are your feelings. recognizing that it's natural to feel things like, oh my God, I can't believe I did such and such, but also understand that dwelling on these feelings indefinitely is not productive. Allow yourself to experience and express these emotions without judgment. But you got to come out of it. You have to do something different. I tell people that I treat and speak to, do something different. Have an emotional visit. Let yourself express. Journal, write, speak to your therapist or your estrangement coach, and then do something that brings you pleasure. Go hang out with your pet. Go for a walk. Call a dear and trusted friend. But don't stay in those emotions indefinitely. Second thing to do is identify the reasons for estrangement. So I know we just said sometimes you don't know, but sometimes you do know. There were cues. Sometimes an adult child will have tried to tell their parent things and the parent wouldn't listen or validate, or kept saying, no, everything is okay, and didn't really want to hear or engage in conversation. And this doesn't happen with every parent, and just because an adult child is estranged doesn't mean that the blame is 100% on the parent. There are things that parents do because we're imperfect and we make mistakes. However, the role of reflecting gives us an opportunity to see, all right, this is what I did, but stay in the truth. All right, I take responsibility for X, Y, Z. You have made mistakes, take responsibility, and the self-awareness is critical for your personal growth, but it's not meant to land you in a state of deep sadness because you made mistakes. It's because you want to grow. If you're in this state, it's a great idea to seek professional help if needed. Consider talking to a therapist who specializes in estrangement or an estrangement coach. They can provide a safe space for you to explore your feelings, teach you how to go through the grieving process, and guide you towards a healthier perspective about yourself. Self-compassion, as we're going to learn, is the next piece. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Treat yourself as you would a dear friend. If your dear friend came to you and told you things that were very much like what your experience with your adult child, you wouldn't beat them up and tell them, oh my God, you're so terrible. Why did you do that? You would be compassionate with yourself. Remember, everyone makes mistakes, and it's essential to forgive yourself for past errors. And the fifth thing is to respect your child's boundaries. If your child is the one that initiated the estrangement, respect their decision and give them the space they need. Pressuring them, guilting them, or forcing them to talk to you or to reconcile is a futile effort. It doesn't work. In fact, it repels our adult children. And number 6 is reach out with empathy. If you believe there's a chance for reconciliation and your adult child has been giving you cues that they are somewhat ready to speak to you, you can always say, hey, I'm here. I just want you to know I love you. If you'd like to talk, I'm ready to talk. The idea is when we have empathy for what our adult child is going through, we tend to see their perspective and we're able to validate without the judgment. By the way, you don't have to agree with your adult child in every version to validate their perspective. You can say something like, I'm willing to listen to what you have to say. And then when they speak to you, you can validate how they feel. And number 7 is to focus on personal growth. So what this means is get yourself stronger. You've gone through a lot in your life. This isn't the first time your world has been shaken. And you're going to need to pull in that strength, that inner strength that you have that's allowed you to be there at different times in your life and to show up in order to get through this process. So reach in there, gain that strength, and be determined to do things that will promote your well-being, such as you can pray, you can meditate, you can journal, you can join a support group, you can regain your interests and do things that bring you pleasure. And number 8 is to develop healthy coping mechanisms. So this is about finding constructive ways to cope with your emotions. So when we're really taxed and have a lot of stress because things are hurting us, we tend to stop doing things that interest us. You want to resist the temptation to do that. You want to resist the temptation to also isolate. So you want to do things like exercise regularly. It doesn't have to be a big thing. You could just go for a walk. You want to spend time with friends that love and value you. You want to pursue hobbies. If you really like watching funny movies, you want to do that. If you used to paint, you want to start doing that again. You want to do things and have coping mechanisms that say you care about yourself. And number 9 is set realistic expectations. So we know that adult-child estrangement on average, family estrangement on average can last 4.5 years. So we don't know. It could be a shorter time or a longer time, but you want to be patient with yourself and take the expectation out and the demand that you're only going to be okay if your adult child wants you back in your life. And number 10 is to build a support network. Connect with friends or family members who can offer understanding and encouragement. Not a good idea to hang out with people that give you a lot of negative and spew a lot of negative things about your adult child. You want to talk to people that are supportive, that understand what's going on with you. Having a supportive network can make significant differences in coping with guilt and regret. Remember that healing from estrangement takes time. It's essential to be patient and compassionate with yourself. There's no easy fix. I wish there was, but there isn't. We have to travel and journey through this time period, being kind with ourselves and knowing that we can move forward. Our lives can go on. And I like to tell people it's not okay to go down with the ship. Because your adult child doesn't want you in their life right now and there's a loss of the relationship status, isn't cause for your life to go down the tubes at this time. You matter and your life matters. Get my ebook, Feeling Heartbroken and Alone, How to Pick Up the Pieces When You're Estranged. And you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video.